All right. Hello, friends, and welcome to Symphonic Rain. Before we get into this, I wanted to have a little bit of a storytime discussion with you guys because the publisher of this game, Komodo, sent me a free full copy of it in exchange for me playing it for you guys. So shout out to them. This is a visual novel that came out a few years ago. I'm looking at the email right now and it doesn't say exactly when it came out, but I do know that it was a while ago. It is a visual novel about music. The email specifically says, Symphonic Rain is a quiet, emotionally resonant visual novel about music, memory, and fragile connections. Set in a city where rain never stops falling, venture through gentle days and unspoken feelings, finding that every choice echoes like a lingering melody. And I don't know, I just thought a visual novel about music sounded fun and interesting. Some of the screenshots that I have here looked like there's a cool mini game in here that I wanted to see. So we are going to, you guys can see my mouse. Isn't that fun? I'm on a different screen than what you guys are seeing, and yet somehow you can still see my mouse. So we are going to try this out and see how it goes. I am excited. Let's hop in and let's see what Symphonic Rain is all about. Game start. It's raining. Ooh, okay.
クリス、そちらは今も雨が
It's
降
in
っていますか?
Japanese, the voices. Can I mess with the options a little bit? Interesting. Well, this is not a BGM. This is, in fact, a sound effect. We're gonna bring that down up a little bit. I'm looking at my levels behind the scenes. Welcome to the VOD where I mess with audio levels. It's really like... once you get around halfway, it's really not moving at all. And I don't know what rear means. Oh, that's this? I'm so confused. I don't know what rear means, but it somehow messes with this, but also not. Voices as high as it goes, so cannot make that any more, but that's okay. Anyway, is it raining there? Letters from Ari always started like that.
こっちは相変わらずのいい天気です。
The weather here is nice as always.
少しだけでもそっちに分けてあげたいくらいに。
I don't know whether I want to turn off the Japanese voice or not, so much so that I wish I could share some of it with you.
そんな些細な天気のことでさえ、クリスと遠く離れていることを思い出さずにはいられないなんて辛いことだよね。
You see, Chris, even talking about the weather reminds me of how far away you are. It's so hard. I think I will turn off the Japanese voices. I'm sorry. It is nice. Turn that down all the way. It is nice to be able to hear it like as it is originally intended, but for reading in a Let's Play sort of format, I don't think that it does well in a recording in a video, but I do like the fact that this is voice acted in general, just I'm not going to be using the voice acting for this. Recently, it occurred to me that we've been living like this for almost 3 years. After this month, it will already be next year. And then after another 2 months, you'll finally be back, right? After I realized that, time seems to have slowed down a little. It was hard right after you left, but it's hard at times like this, too. And now that the day you come back is getting closer, I'm getting kind of scared. Do you think that's strange? I hope that we can spend the end of the year together like we always do, but you have your performance, so I guess you won't know if you'll be free to spend any time with me, right? Even I don't know if I'll be free or not. I'll explain more in a letter before Natale, so please, there's not a please in there, but congratulations, there is now. Make sure you write back too, Chris. And that reminds me. Torta wrote me and told me you still haven't decided on a partner for your graduation performance. I don't know, she seemed really worried. Don't you think you should decide soon? I can't wait another year. I'm starting to ramble. To be continued in my next letter. That's a cute ending. Love, Arietta. Ooh. The 27th of November, and it's Sunday. I took my eyes off the letter and played with the feeling of the letter paper still on my fingertips. It always took me a little time to recover from the lingering emotions. I just sat there motionless for a while before finally folding up her letter. I carefully put it away back in its pretty envelope, just the way it came, and stowed it away in the usual drawer. Ari's letters were so short they could fit on a single piece of paper, which is weird because the photo was multiple pieces of paper, but the drawer was now almost filled with her letters, as if to show how much time had gone by. She gave me enough blank paper to fill the drawer and said, "Someday, when that drawer is stuffed full of your letters, you'll be back, right?" To keep the promise I made to her, I perform this ritual once a week, every week. I closed the drawer quietly, then leaned back in the chair to check the view and the clock. Already 6 o'clock. Night was closing in. That being said, the scene outside didn't change dramatically. The already gloomy sky just got a little darker. The rain pattered endlessly against the window. What do you mean already 6 o'clock? Ooh, okay. I love the wings. Hurry up and write a reply so we can do some ensembles. With her light wings gently cutting the air, Forney floated from the windowsill to the desk. Then she gently flitted about 10 centimeters above its surface. The wings on her back moved restlessly, but it didn't look like they were what made her float. She was a mysterious creature, to be sure. Yeah, I know. The weekly exchange of letters with Ari always went like this. I didn't have much free time. I was just sticking faithfully to it because Ari said, "I want to read your replies right away." On the other hand, her letters didn't always arrive right away. When I write a letter and put it in the post the next day, it arrives 2 days later. Since it took 4 days for a round trip, there was no reason to hurry. But the bakery she worked at was popular in our hometown and successful enough that people would come from far away to shop there on the weekends. She was still in training and had to work hard. She barely had time to sleep, damn. Ari would read my letter that arrived in the middle of the week and write her reply on Friday, her only day off. That letter would get to me on Sunday afternoon. The post office was closed that day, so I could take my time writing a reply. Just as Ari said in her letter, this routine had been going on for almost 3 years. Yeah, you don't know anything. Yeah. I finished writing the letter quickly, put it in an envelope, and sealed it. Then I finally turned back to Forney. Are you finally done? Yeah. Well, I suppose it can't be helped. It's a letter to your girlfriend. Forney said this as if half fed up, then started fluttering her wings gently in excitement. I pulled the foretell out of the case I carried around school and set it up in the corner. If you would, please. Forney reached out to me and asked me, as she always did. Just as she asked, I let Forney onto the palm of my hand and put her on top of the foretell. Forney's wings didn't work so well, so she was unable to fly any higher than her current position. Apparently, she could glide from high to low for a long distance, but getting anywhere far at the same height was impossible. Now then. Then I brought the chair over to the foretell and tried lightly striking a chord. Almost everyone living in my apartment building was a student at the music school like me. There was a mutual understanding, so I could play without worrying so much, even at night. Shall we begin? I don't know how to pronounce that, Forney. Forney moved her wings lightly while doing her vocal exercises and turned to look at me. I lightly tensed my fingers, touching the foretell, and gathered my concentration for the opening notes. Magic. It's required to play this instrument, and while there are differences in strength, it's a power said to have been held by many people long ago. That power suddenly disappeared, instead replaced by an equally mysterious power called electricity, spreading through the world. The foretell is a glimmer of evidence that magic existed in the past. So the same song as always? Yeah. I pictured the notes. Then I myself became one of the notes making up the chords. I existed inside the music. Ooh, okay. Let's go. Since 1998. This is exciting. Ooh. Okay. I want to say things, but I'm also like, I want you guys to be able to listen to the music. Okay. Is this me? Ooh. Tortinita. Falsita. Okay. Licelsia? Arietta. Damn, girl, she's fine. This has more characters than I thought that it did. I don't know why. Barney, the musical fairy. I really like this opening and the way that it moves, you know? And then plus, if we're gonna talk over the music, you know, the art style is, I know that this is an older game, but the art style is so reminiscent of like older anime that it's like, ooh, exciting. Okay. Ooh, I got an achievement for seeing the opening movie. Sweet, that was easy. Another song. The final note faded out, and the room was enveloped in silence. Holding our breath, neither one of us moved for a while. But that silence was soon drowned out by the sound of the rain. I felt good. Leaning on the music stand, Forney sighed lazily with her eyes closed. I'm afraid I'm going to say her name wrong one of these days. As she sang, she also became a part of the music. When I first met Forney, she called herself the musical fairy, and I knew better than anyone that wasn't a lie. I don't actually remember it very well. I had just moved to this apartment and was pretty busy. She simply explained that she was a musical fairy that lived here, and we just kind of ended up together. At first, I thought I was hallucinating, but she was real, all right. But when Forney saw my foretell and said the words, "Let's perform an ensemble," it didn't matter anymore. That's how amazing her voice was, and it still hasn't changed. The one unfortunate thing was that I was the only person who could see or hear her, okay? Her voice was angelic. I know that sounds trite, but I don't know any other way to describe her voice. Anyway. Forney opened her eyes as if shaking off the last of the reverberations. I was also deep in thought, but came back to my senses and took my fingers off the keys of the foretell. Okay, I think I'll go to bed. Oh, is it that time already? Time passed quickly when I played together with Forney. It must have been because I was concentrating so hard, but when I snapped out of it, I felt tired. So I didn't do ensembles with Forney every day. It was always on Sundays. I'd finish reading Ari's letter, write a reply, and Forney would always say the same thing. Hurry up and let's do an ensemble. Don't forget to send that letter, okay? Yeah, I know. Her tiny body and childish mouth. Despite how she looked, Forney always tried to mother me. I won't say it suited her, but she was pretty adorable, and it was never unpleasant when she talked to me like that. That might be why she reminded me a bit of Ari's little sister, my other childhood friend, Torta. Good. Now then, good night. Yeah, night. I even got used to Forney disappearing like that. She really was a strange creature. But somewhere in my heart was the desire to accept her for what she was. Thanks to her, I never felt lonely or isolated since I arrived in this town. Good night. Okay. It's Monday now, the 28th of November. There was a soft sound of flowing water, the sound of rain hitting the gutter. The light that reached me through the thin clouds was always a little subdued. I made to get up and turn on the light, but the shadow next to the desk stopped me. Hello? Hi. Morning. I always say this, but you look like a child when you sleep. Doesn't everyone look like a child when they sleep? How should I know? The only sleeping face I've ever seen is yours. Anyway, if you would. She said this with evident satisfaction and fluttered her wings a few times, as if she were bored with talking. I picked Forney up and moved her to her favorite spot by the window. Forney sat there, swinging her legs as if she were bored. What time is it? A little after 9. I was going to play a prank on you if you didn't wake up. Too bad. I picked up the clock off the table and turned off the alarm. Maybe it's because I'm dreaming what Forney will say or do, but I always wake up before the alarm goes off. I always got plenty of sleep. I turned off the alarm just to be absolutely sure. Or I turned on the alarm, whichever. Well, guess I'll get dressed. Oh, right. Don't forget the letter. I put it in my bag yesterday. Forney nodded with satisfaction and looked back at the rain to signify that she had finished talking. What? Rain again today? The same as always. Nice weather. The same as always. I got dressed quickly and headed for the door. I wasn't in the habit of eating breakfast myself, and Forney didn't eat. Period. So once I washed my face and got dressed, I was ready to leave. The first thing I heard when I got outside was the rain hitting the cobblestone street. It wasn't a loud noise, but it was ingrained deep in my eardrums, asserting itself like dirt that wouldn't go away. The city of rain. People new to the city always think the first of those words. There was certainly a time when people called it that, and the origin of the city's name comes from there as well. But nowadays, it was the city of music. The fact it was recognized by the people living here, and they were proud of it. The lines of shops were part of the legacy as well. I could escape the rain under their roofs and shake off the droplets covering me. I shook my head lightly and brushed the droplets off of my shoulders. Or clothes, or whatever I said. Sometimes I can't read. I'd gotten used to the city enough to be able to do this casually. The rain fell year-round, and probably because the residents were so used to it, nobody used an umbrella. Interesting, okay? I would feel everybody would be more likely to use an umbrella. It took a week for my letter to reach her and for her to send me words of meaning in return. I found myself imagining how I would spend that time. I was too used to this time. I was too used to this city. But I couldn't get rid of a strange feeling. Like this wasn't where I belonged. It was a strange feeling. I thought if Forney, Torta, and the letters from Ari weren't there, maybe time would stop. Sounds foolish, I know. Excuse me. The voice of the stranger passing me from behind shook me out of my reverie, and I turned around. I'd like to mail a letter, if that's all right. Oh, right, I'm sorry. Thanks. He thanked me, put his letter in the mailbox, and walked away. How long had I been lost in thought? Porta and Forney had often told me it was a habit of mine to suddenly zone out. I couldn't get too wet and catch a cold. I decided not to think anymore and started walking unhurriedly towards down the road to the school. I arrived on campus a little after 10 o'clock. I still had 20 minutes before my private lesson, so I moved leisurely to the first hall. There weren't many students who came to school at this time, but a few did. You wouldn't see any first or second year students who had classes in the morning, but when you became a third year, most of your lessons were private lessons and your mornings started later. Lessons began in the morning, but students quickly took up all the afternoon classes, so morning classes were mostly open. However, if you went with the second round of classes that started at 10:30, it wasn't too hard to wake up in the morning. I didn't like crowds, so I was happy to have a morning lesson. Beyond the hallways of lecture rooms, it took several minutes to walk to the classrooms for private lessons. As might be expected from one of the best music schools in the country, it was on a fairly grand scale. Breathing the crisp and slightly humid morning air, I headed towards my classroom. With the language studies, vocal lessons, and the general studies that the first years had to take, I could sense quite a few people near the lecture rooms. But all the private lesson rooms were soundproofed, so it was really quiet. After lunch was when things were the liveliest. But I liked the morning air. The layers of compressed air seemed to press against my eardrums, and I felt the subtle, faraway sound of the rain on my skin. Excuse me. I arrived 15 minutes before the allotted time of 10:30, and it looked like Miss Cordell wasn't there yet. She always came 10 minutes before the lesson, so I often arrived before her. Okay then. I pulled out a chair, got the foretell out of its case, and began setting it up. There was already a foretell set up, but I preferred my own. I focused on my fingers and lightly played a sound. I played the foretell like that for a few minutes, then heard the door behind me. Good morning. Good morning. I turned around and returned her greeting. Don't mind me, continue. Actually, I've already finished. I see. You're a little early today, aren't you? Miss Cordell looked at the clock on the wall and looked at me for confirmation. Yes, well, we need to talk. Do you have someone in mind? You mean a partner? Yes, I'm sure you have someone in mind, right? Yeah, about that. You'll need time to practice together, so there isn't much time left. There's still a few months left. There's only 2 months left. That's less than a few. Oh, is it that soon? I know you aren't good at keeping track of such things, but come on now. If you know that, why'd you even bother asking? It's my job. So, are you looking? Yes, I suppose You're lying. Jumping to conclusions like that was just like Miss Cordell. Why do you say that? I like to think I know you a little. And don't ask. So I hit the mark. Saying this, she smiled slightly and mussed up my hair. I liked it when Miss Cordell did this from time to time. When it came to music, she showed no compromise and treated students strictly, but that wasn't all there was to her. Many students thought she was just a strict teacher, though. In truth, even I thought that until I had private lessons with her. Yeah, you hit the mark. Well, there aren't many who can work with your music. You're not very compromising. Yeah, that's the problem. I just laughed it off to escape the moment. I had a feeling that the professor was overestimating me. Among the many teachers at the school, Miss Cordell had the most faith in my abilities. But I didn't really see it in myself. The foretell is an instrument that requires magic, and its tone depends heavily on the one playing it. It's not like a piano or a cembalo that are played simply by pressing the keys. Of course, the strength of touch and manipulations of the pedals change the sound, but that can't be compared to the individual differences of the foretell. You could say that the difference in sound is comparatively close to a wind instrument, but it seems closest to the human voice. And the sounds that I played were held in high regard by Miss Cordell. It's based a lot on intuition, and it's not something you're really aware of when playing. I thought I was just normal, but she was telling me I was wrong. Chris, are you listening? Huh? Oh, sorry. I like your honesty, but you lose points for not listening to me during class. Sorry. Class, technically speaking, hasn't started. We have a good 10 minutes left until 10:30, so. Okay, for now, let's begin the lesson. Yes, ma'am. I answered her and took the sheet music out of my bag to set it on the stand. Miss Cordell peeked at it over my shoulder. The same song as always? Yes, it will depend on my partner, but for now, this is really the only one in consideration. And then, play it from the beginning for now. Okay then, begin. This is a screen. Oh, boy. What? I wasn't expecting K to be a thing that I needed to press. Am I gonna have to memorize, like, WASD, but for... Nope, that was the wrong one. That wasn't... Huh? Oh god. This is hard, you guys. Oh shit. The F keeps messing me up. God. I can do that. Oh god. I messed up. No, that's D. Oh god, there's more? That's not L. F. Jesus. Get me out of this hellhole. That was getting me out, right? No. Why does it continue like... Help? Why do I have to do it again? There's no escape. Help. I'm gonna get so good at this. That was the wrong button. That's... Get me out of this hellhole. Remember when I said I thought the music minigame was gonna be interesting? Jesus fucking Christ. Jay's over here. I hate this. Yeah, I hate that you can tell exactly when I'm like actually doing it. That was... It's all just keys in a line. It should not be this hard. That was a lot of K's in a row. I keep hitting S instead of A. I've got this. That was too soon. How do I get out of here? N? Okay, when it says continue, you hit N. Not yes, you hit no. Do not continue, apparently. Hey, by the way, I know there was an option for difficulty. Let's bring that down. Oh, God. Okay. I finished the song and turned around to receive her feedback. No good, but you know that, don't you? Yes, ma'am. Good then. It's not a bad thing to fail in practice. Saying this, the professor smiled softly as if she had thought of something. The problem with you, Chris, is that you aren't focused enough on your goal. Meaning? I should also... Because I noticed some of those... Listen, I was in hell. But I did notice that some of those were a little bit loud, so I'm gonna add a limiter right now at -2. And I'll play around with the rest of that later. That's for editing me, but just to make it a little bit easier. Meaning? You're making a mistake by just practicing the song without having decided on a partner. I don't know. It sounds like I should practice the song a little bit more, because yikes. So we're back here yet again. I'm not saying it to annoy you. It isn't the time to talk about this anyway. I know. In that case, I'll believe you. Thank you. You have an idea, don't you? Yes, well... Your friend, Tortinita? Well, yeah. She's graduating this year, isn't she? That's perfect, right? I'll keep that in mind when I think about it. I see. Okay then, I'll step in if it comes to it. You'll step in? I'll ask a voice student. If you don't decide before this year's lessons are over, I'll decide for you. Damn. You have no say in it. I'm sure it's difficult for you to look for a partner when you can't even play the song properly. Feeling a little agitated by her words, I replied, That's not true. I see. I'll believe you, Chris. Decide soon on your own, then. I think she just conned me into deciding on a partner. I was at a loss for words as she smirked at me. Anyway, you need to practice. It'll be good to make your mistakes here. Once more, from the beginning. No, don't. Don't show me that screen again. Thank you. Oh my god. Remember when I walked into this being like, I don't know, the music minigame looks interesting and I want to try it out. I've never been more stressed playing a visual novel in my life. Holy shit. Even after Miss Cordell left, I remained in the classroom to calm down after the excitement of playing. It was something, all right. Then I remembered the repeated advice and thought about the future. It's not like I wasn't looking for a partner. I just wasn't very interested in it. I knew I didn't have that much time to spare, so I just couldn't work seriously at it. Piova Communal School of Music. The Communal School of Music was named after the city. It boasted world-renowned facilities, and many famous musicians called it their alma mater. With that tradition behind it, both entering and graduating were said to be difficult. Being one of the few capable Fortell students, it was easy for me to get in. And that's probably why I've had such a hard time of it. And of course, I was given an appropriate task in order to graduate from the school. A graduation performance held in the school's concert hall. The graduation performance is judged by alumni and active musicians gathered from around the country. Some students stayed on at the school after failing their performance, but most inevitably quit on their own. On the other hand, there were those who did so well that they were instantly guaranteed success as professional musicians. The standards for graduation have always been high. Regardless, Miss Cordell said I have a good chance of graduating. Are we sure? I'd had it drummed into me that it was all about graduating. There were 2 rules for a foretell performance, and no matter how skilled you were, you couldn't pass if you didn't fulfill those terms. First, the song performed had to be an original. I already had one, so there was no problem there. The next was the problem. The song had to be performed with a vocalist. Normally, a third-year voice student would be chosen as a partner, as vocalists also needed to perform to graduate. But the rules stated that the partner didn't need to be a voice student. That meant it could be anyone, even someone outside of the school. That being said, pairing with someone not used to singing in front of an audience was like asking to fail, so I never heard of anyone pairing with anyone other than a student of the school. Well, it wasn't like I didn't have someone in mind, but there were things that made me hesitate to pair with her. The reason I didn't even really know myself. I did appreciate her voice, and I'd known her since we were kids. We were still close. So why? I asked myself, but I never came up with an answer. The chimes ringing to signal noon brought me back to my senses. It's been noon for a while, but okay. I hadn't made plans with her, but I went to the cafeteria to meet my childhood friend. She was a partner candidate, after all. Unlike how it was in the morning, a few students were out in the hallways chatting. I slid past them and went outside. In the building I had just left, the first hall, there were classrooms, lecture rooms, and offices for the professors and staff. And in the second hall I was heading to, there were many individual practice rooms, even smaller than the classrooms. It also contained the cafeteria and the library, facilities not directly related to classes. I passed the concert hall that stood between those 2 buildings and hurried under its roof to avoid the rain. Being lunchtime, there were many students already gathered in the cafeteria. It was big enough to cater for 100 people at one time, and it was half full. I put my bag down on a seat near a window I liked. After ordering some risotto, I took it and sat down in the chair. Hi. As I was stirring the contents of the bowl with a spoon, I heard a familiar voice from behind. Oh, hi. Torta sat down next to me, moving my bag over a space. Huh? This. It must have fallen out when she moved my bag. Torta was waving the sheet music that I had been using in front of me. What are you doing with that sheet music? Is this the song for your presentation? For now. Do you have the whole song? For now. That habit of saying for now is... You're telling me to stop, right? I'm working on it. For now, right? Torta laughed feebly, giving the subject up as a joke. So, can I look? Go ahead, I'll be eating. As I went through the motions of putting the slightly cold risotto in my mouth, I watched her from the corner of my eye. It looked like she was reading the music intently, checking the notes. Just as she finished reading the last page, I finished my lunch. It's a pretty good song. Thanks. You did what you needed to, anyway. Did you think I was doing nothing? But you haven't chosen a partner yet, have you? No, I haven't yet. No matter how good the song is, Miss Cordell just gave me the same talk. Oh, well, she's right. But why the both of you all of a sudden? We're into December this week. I guess, yeah. You only have 2 months left, you know? Wouldn't you say 2 whole months? No, I wouldn't. Whatever, I'm going to eat my lunch. Go ahead. As I said this, Torta opened her lunchbox on the table. So, do you have any ideas? That may be the case. So you don't. Don't jump to conclusions. Doesn't take a genius. No, it's not that I don't have any ideas. Her cheeks stuffed with sandwich, Torta replied with a slightly surprised look on her face. Aw, Cass. Don't talk with your mouth full. Of course it's someone other than me, right? Yeah. Huh? There really is someone else? You seem really surprised. Who, by the way? Do I know this person? Oh. No? It was just some voice student that Miss Cordell said she could ask. In the end, I was leaving it to my teacher and not doing anything myself. I got ready to be taken to task, and as I searched for the words to explain, Torta laughed. Huh, wow. So you're working on it. Kind of. What? I don't know. Explain carefully? I said I had an idea, but the truth is it isn't decided yet. If it comes to it, Miss Cordell will ask a voice student. Huh? Oh, I see. What did you think I was going to say? Nothing. Yeah, right. I didn't believe the rumor would apply to you, Chris. I didn't think you'd cheat on Ari. I'm kidding, of course. Whatever. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% following this conversation. I passed it off lightly to avoid any more questions. Nothing. Whatever. I like that about you, Chris. Like what? That you're a little irresponsible. What? That's not a good thing. That's not true. Whatever. But what? You should probably fix that irresponsible side. What's this all about? You don't need to know. So what were we talking about? The rumor, I think? Rumor? Which one? That's what I'm asking. You're the one talking about believing rumors and cheating, aren't you, Torta? Oh, that rumor. Oh, that rumor. Yeah, so what is it? It's the same old stuff. I think there was that men and women. What? I think it was that the men and women who performed together at the graduation presentation end up together forever or something. Yeah, that's something you'd hear at any school. Right. You don't seem very interested, Torta. Yeah, I mean, people whose tastes match tend to match up as people too. They practice long hours together and they like so many of the same things. They have similar goals as well. Yeah, right. Torta nodded as if she totally understood and gave a faint smile. Of course, you're not interested. I haven't even decided on my partner yet. And yet you go on with such confidence. Go on? About the psychology of men and women in love. Even though you said more than half of it. You were right there with me, Chris. It doesn't suit you. Who doesn't it suit? At least I have a girlfriend. My big sister doesn't count. You just ended up with her because you were friends. You want to talk. You've never even been in a relationship. Big words from someone who thinks that what they know is all there is to know. We argued as far as that, then we looked at each other and laughed lightly. Torta and Ari, my two childhood friends. I can still remember every detail of growing up so close to them. A boy and twin girls born in the same year, and living close by to boot. We naturally lived like we were family. The boy happened to have a talent for playing the fortel, and the younger of the twins was a gifted singer. But the older sister didn't do anything special. So both sets of parents thought that the younger sister was more suited to the boy. But at some point, the boy got together with the older sister, and this was accepted as natural, if only among the children. The talented twosome went to the city of music to realize their dreams, while the one left behind pursued her own dream in their hometown. The lovers were bound together by weekly letters, the only way to stay connected over the unbearable distance. Their relationship was hampered by the fact that one was by the sea and the other surrounded by mountains. You couldn't go anywhere without passing through a long tunnel carved through the mountains. Even to get to the closest city, it was necessary to ride a steam train for half a day. This was the magnitude of the gap between the two of them. You're lost in thought again. Oh, sorry. No, it's fine. Anyway. You have to find a partner soon, okay? I know. Well, I will. Really? Really, Miss Cordell's on my case too. What about you, Torta? Me? Do you have a partner already? Uh-huh. Oh, I misread. But you said... I think it would be best for you if you didn't say any more, okay? Huh? What do you mean? Voice students can perform solo. Well, the marks are better when paired with a foretell player, so there are quite a few people working on that assumption. But are you going to perform a solo, Torta? It'll be easier. Oh, I see. And I knew what she would say the next moment before she said it. That's how close Torta and I were now. If a certain someone really can't find a partner, it would be better if there was at least one candidate, right? Thanks. But that doesn't mean you don't need to look. I know. We were almost closer than lovers. Ooh. That's why I thought it would be better to put some distance, even forced, between us. But... unconsciously trying to find a reason to avoid Torta, I continued in a light tone to counter the uneasy tension between us. Don't you think it's unfair that vocalists are free to choose like that? No, I don't. I mean, just being able to play the foretell gets students special treatment at the school. I didn't ask for that. And it may be special treatment, but I still work hard. I can't help that I was born this way, right? Being born like that is important in this case. Only for the rarity. I think it's amazing you're not just trying to be humble, Chris. You really feel that way. What a compliment. Maybe it wasn't. Which is it? Why don't you choose? Okay, then it wasn't a compliment. Fine then. I'll very like you to focus on the negative. I felt too comfortable with this all too familiar interaction. I had to heave a deep sigh in order to guard against it. I wonder why foretell students have to pair with voice students. Because a human voice pairs best with a foretell. I feel like I've heard that before. What do you mean? Don't you remember learning it in class? Did I? In your first year in the foretell history lecture. Is it possible I didn't take that class? No? Okay, I'll ask. What's your major? Foretell. Sorry. Oh boy, it must be nice to be able to make one's way in life with just natural ability. Hey, you're making fun of all the foretell students. No, I was talking only about you, Chris. You're so bad at taking notes, but you always get high marks on your playing. Are we sure about that? Yeah, listen, really listen, okay? The sound of a foretell is made good or bad depending on the nature of the individual. You could call it individuality. Just as each person has a different voice, the tone of the foretell changes depending on the person. And it has the capacity to be changed by thoughts and emotions. It can be filled with a richer range of emotions than other instruments, so it pairs well with vocals, which can express the same emotional richness according to the verse. Understand? I understand. I basically understand what you're saying, Torta. Alright, good. But I don't think that's a good reason for Fortel to have to pair with a voice student. Voice students can perform solo. Isn't that unfair? Huh? Oh, that's what you mean. You explained it for me, but missed the point, and you were making fun of me. Well, of course I made fun of you. Why? Think about it. Because there's so few Fortel students. That's twice as many voice students, right? That's true. Do you understand? Yes. So now you really get it. Yeah, I understand. I'll really look. Good. Oh, I can help you look if you want. I can introduce you to some people. Just like me, Torto was finished with her morning lesson. We always just parted ways after eating together here. Ask her what? Ask her if she wants to be my partner? Can I go back in this? So I can't go back, and the normal go back button is go forward. So, and this is the log, which I accidentally opened. You know what? I'm pressing buttons. That's also the menu. Well, I've accidentally asked her whatever the question is, so I think I'll take you up on that. Okay, I'll ask around then. Oh, okay. It wasn't, for some reason I was thinking it was ask her, like, if she wants to be my partner, and ask her to ask around. Okay. But you have some leads, right? I know that you have none, Chris. Just stick with me. Yeah, okay. So you can't go back in this game. Is what I'm understanding from this. Okay, I think because we are going into a new scene here. I mean, Torta's still talking, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this here for now, a little bit early than the hour for an episode. But first thoughts that I'm having with this, I think that the writing for it is a little difficult to understand, and a little bit, I don't want to say boring, a little like mundane. I feel like I'm not really getting into this visual novel as much as I would like to. The music video game, or mini game, the whole thing's a video game, is interesting, and I'd like to see more of it, especially now that I've put the difficulty down. But simultaneously, maybe it's because it's late at night, I'm kind of getting tired. This game's kind of putting me to sleep. So, yep, that's all that I have. My phone's about to die, I'm just now noticing. You ever try to end an episode and realize that your phone's dying? Hold on, I'm at 4%, like it's serious. My head's getting chopped off. But this was a really fun and interesting first look into this game. Let me know what you guys think about it, if you think that I should play some more, if we should see. We've only really met 2 characters, and I think there was 4 that I could focus on. So we still have a few more to go as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this here for now. So Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you are enjoying Symphonic Rain. Yet again, thank you to the publisher Komodo for giving me the chance to play this game and try it out. And I will see you in the future for my next video.